It was the hottest afternoon in suburban San Diego. The cicadas were screeching like a broken saw. Chad Evans, known for a mouth that could talk a stone into blooming, was slouched in the back row of his classroom. He was fiercely debating the existential meaning of a cartoon sticker stuck on his desk. His history teacher, used to Chad's endless chatter, had long given up on him. Then Hunter Lin arrived. Hunter, the school legend and son of the board chairman, walked in like a deity who had mistakenly stumbled into a mortal classroom, bringing a blast of cool, crisp air with him. His voice was calm but held an undeniable authority. "I heard you can talk a wall down, Evans," Hunter said, standing right in front of Chad. "I need you to get my sister Vivian Lin to speak. One sentence, $1,000. $1,000 a day." Chad narrowed his eyes, mentally calculating the cash. This isn't just a speaking gig. It's a rainstorm of money, he thought. Rich kids are too naive. They don't know my tricks for getting past psychological defenses. Vivian Lin was huddled in the corner, wearing her crisp white uniform, looking like a perfectly sculpted ice doll. She was the ice princess, untouchable. Chad didn't slam the desk. He slowly crouched down, lowering his voice to a playful whisper. "Vivian, I need to ask you something," he said teasingly. "You were secretly activating that time machine that predicts the next 10 years on the school roof last night. Don't you think you should explain?" Silence. The hot classroom went completely still. All eyes were on the corner. Vivian, who had been staring at the floor, suddenly snapped her head up. Her eyes, usually dead and dull, went wide and bright. Her pale face instantly turned scarlet. She seemed desperate to speak, but only 3 words came out, a fragile whisper. "I didn't." Checkmate. Chad smirked, standing up and holding out his hand to Hunter. "Pay up, boss. Pretty efficient, hey? Maybe I deserve a double bonus." Hunter rushed over, his usual cool demeanor replaced by sheer shock and admiration. His eyes were wide as if he'd just witnessed a miracle. He immediately transferred the money. $1,000. Hunter grabbed Chad's arm. "Bro, you're my savior. Save my sister." Hunter explained that Vivian's silence was her extreme protest against external pressure and judgment. She had built a wall of silence, a shield to block all attempts at closeness. "We're teenagers, we all have big egos. Who wants to try making friends with a porcupine?" Hunter sighed. "But you, Chad, you're different. Hang out with her more. Get her to say one more sentence and I'll give you another grand." Chad looked at the notification for the extra $1,000. A high-paid rescue mission. "I was born for this." He glanced back at Vivian. The girl had bowed her head again, showing only the top of her smooth dark hair. But the scarlet tinge on her ear tips was like a tiny burning flame. Hunter, being Hunter, used his influence immediately. The next day Chad was sitting right next to Vivian. During the second period Chad leaned in close, his breath deliberately tickling her sensitive ear. "Vivian, your neck is really white. It looks like the whipped cream on a Starbucks frappuccino. I kinda wanna take a sip." Vivian flinched, startled. She snapped her head up and stared at him with wide, alarmed eyes, like a cornered fawn. Chad grinned, grabbing his phone to take a quick photo of her animated expression. which he sent to Hunter instantly. But over the next few classes Vivian returned to her silent routine. Chad talked non-stop, telling jokes and school rumors. She was an unmoving porcelain statue. The dismissal bell rang. Chad, slightly hoarse, realized he was actually enjoying the challenge. He noticed her pale fingers closing her textbook. "Hey, physics class. Stop pretending." Your hand actually twitched. She froze for a barely noticeable second, then swiftly turned and walked out. Chad grabbed his backpack and chased after her. Just outside the classroom, Cynthia, Chad's popular preppy crush, blocked his path. Her face grim. "They don't want anything to do with you, can't you see that, Chad? Have some self-respect." Chad took a deep breath. He had crushed on Cynthia for years. But this constant needling was too much. He yanked his bag back and shoved her shoulder hard. "Are you sick, Cynthia? When I flirted with you, you said I had no class. When I move on, you say I have no self-respect. Honestly, get lost." He turned and sprinted to catch up with Vivian. He caught her in the hallway. "Why don't you get me, Vivian? I just want to use my noise to fight your silence." He stopped by the corner store near the school gate. "Stop right here," he commanded. "Wait by the dumpster for me." He ran into the store. When he looked back, Vivian was indeed standing rigidly next to the dumpster. "Wow, she's so obedient," Chad thought, grinning. He came out with 2 Otter Pops, a popular icy candy. He handed one to Vivian. She didn't take it and it dropped to the ground. She started walking away. Chad's temper flared. He chased her and instinctively reached out and gently pulled her collar. Vivian flinched, covering her neck, horrified. Chad chuckled and handed the second Otter Pop to her. "Take it." This time she took it. They walked side by side, but she wouldn't eat the candy. Chad leaned in again. "Don't be shy. I won't tell anyone you scored the highest on the last AP math test. Don't you want to protect your genius identity?" Vivian's fingers holding the ice pop instantly froze. She broke the plastic wrap and put the frozen treat into her mouth. Chad then tried the sentimental approach. "You know why ice cream cools you down?" He lowered his voice mysteriously. "Because you finally tasted that the world has a little sweetness in it. Not just coldness and malice." Vivian's gentle licking stopped. She turned her head, looking at Chad with an expression of weary resignation. "Like, are you crazy?" Then she spoke, her voice cool and clear, articulating one word. "Sugar." "Yes. Sugar and sweetness. Your one word is better than my whole speech." Chad was ecstatic. That night Hunter's payment notification woke Chad up. $10,000. The message read. "Vivian spoke at home today. She asked why Dad's tie was so ugly. You are a miracle worker." The next day Chad greeted her. "Morning, Vivian." She looked at him. On his desk was a container of hot dumplings. "You brought these for me?" Chad's eyes lit up. Vivian shook her head and pointed at the logo on the container. "My brother." Chad immediately started eating. He was happily chewing when Cynthia walked up looking annoyed. "Chad, what is wrong with you? Why won't you answer my calls?" She glanced at the dumplings. You really think a rich princess like her would ever be interested in you? Chad stopped chewing. Vivian's silent gaze landed on Cynthia's face. A gaze that held no emotion yet was chilling. Chad slammed his hand on the desk and stood up, intentionally raising his voice. Cynthia, what kind of trash is in your head? We are students. You should be focused on studying, not spreading rumors. If you can't help a classmate, don't try to tear her down. Before Cynthia could respond, the chilling voice of the homeroom teacher rang out. Cynthia, come to my office now. Vivian stared at Chad. There was a deep dark emotion in her beautiful eyes. She quickly turned away. Chad leaned in. Okay, I misspoke. I need your help. Let me borrow your homework. She didn't move. How about that video of the abstract dancing dog you sent me? I can't find it. Send it again. Still silence. 2 minutes later his phone buzzed. It was a Venmo notification from Vivian. $1,000. Message. Keep helping me. I have money. Ignore her. Chad instantly accepted. Yes, princess. Later Vivian abruptly got up and walked out, standing ramrod straight against the hallway wall. Chad quickly lied to the music teacher that Vivian had a stomach ache, and they escaped. He pulled her down the stairs. Their hands clasped. He took her to his favorite cheap noodle place downtown. Boss, we skipped class, Chad announced cheerfully. Vivian instantly clamped her cold hand over Chad's mouth, her eyes wide with panic and rage, wishing she could shove the words back down his throat. After they ate, Vivian pulled out her phone and tried to pay. Chad took the opportunity to send himself a friend request. She let him. Chad then pulled her out of the alley. The sunset glowed on her face. He could feel her excitement. She had never done anything so rebellious. Vivian tried to pull him back to pay. We already escaped. It's embarrassing to go back and pay now, Chad teased. Vivian argued silently with her eyes. Finally she sighed in resignation, took his hand and led him back. Standing at the counter, her palms were sweaty and her ear tips were crimson. Her voice, though shaky, came out clear. We came to pay, sir. We are very sorry. The owner looked confused. Pay for what? Chad already paid with his phone app. Vivian's face fell. She turned around and walked away quickly. Chad chased after her, apologizing and complimenting her voice. She stopped abruptly. Her dark eyes looked at him. She uttered 3 firm words. No shame. Chad burst out laughing. That night Hunter's text message hit his inbox. $10,000. Vivian asked about my ugly tie again. She's getting expressive. Chad was thrilled. He was about to text Vivian when his phone rang. It was Cynthia using her mother's phone to call him. He hung up annoyed. The next day Chad's parents urgently took him to the countryside to visit his sick grandmother. His phone died and he couldn't contact Vivian for 3 days. On the 3rd night a soft tap-tap hit his window pane. Chad rushed to the window and looked out. In the moonlight a solitary delicate girl in a simple white dress stood in the overgrown yard. She looked like a lost doll. awkwardly swatting mosquitoes on her arms. It was Vivian Lin. Chad sprinted downstairs. Vivian. How did you find this place? She looked up at him, her dark eyes reflecting the moon. I couldn't reach you. Her voice was cold with a hint of vulnerability. I texted you 3 times. I lost my phone. She confessed, a flash of annoyance in her eyes. It had been stolen the night she walked home alone. Chad asked her how she found his remote location. I asked your friend. She pointed to a figure hidden in the dark car by the main road. Her chauffeur desperately swatting bugs. Vivian took a deep breath. I thought you were angry. Angry about what? That night you asked me if I was sad to leave you. And I didn't answer. She looked at him with determined eyes. Yes, I was sad to leave you. Chad's breath caught. He hadn't asked if she was sad to leave. He had joked about her liking him. He realized she was answering the question she thought he was asking. Do you like me, Vivian? Chad whispered, his eyes shining. So you are saying you like me and you're asking if I like you, right? Her pale face flushed instantly. From her neck to her ear tips. Like a cooked shrimp. She quickly lightly nodded. Overwhelmed, Chad didn't wait. He stepped forward. Vivian, can I hug you? He didn't wait for the answer. His arms were already around her small waist. Vivian's body stiffened. Then relaxed. She sighed with that familiar tone of resigned helplessness. You already did. The next day Chad rushed home. The first person he ran into was a thin, teary-eyed Cynthia. Loading boxes into a moving van. Cynthia called his name. Chad paused, his back to her. Chad. Her voice was low, shaky and humble. I'm sorry. If I had seen myself earlier, and not said those hurtful things, would you still like me? Chad slowly turned around. He looked at the girl who had owned his adolescence. He shook his head gently. Then he turned to the dumpster and walked away. His phone rang. It was Vivian. Hey princess. What's up? You promised me. Her voice was muffled and slightly possessive. Promised what? Not to talk to him. You definitely shook your head. Chad laughed, feeling incredibly warm. A Venmo notification popped up. $1,000. Message. Buying you a day of silence. Only with me. That familiar move melted his heart. Chad had one question left. Vivian, when did you start liking me? The line went silent for 2 seconds. Then her voice came through. Losing its coolness. Filled with a gentle, warm happiness. The first moment I looked up at you. The sunlight was bright on your desk. And you were smiling at me. In that second I suddenly wanted to speak to you.